Amazing. So hi, I'm Gina. I'm from the Dust team. And before we kick things off, I am going to continue doing a sound check before the speakers. So I'm going to point out to someone in the back and ask you to wave if you can hear me. Yes, I'm getting waves. Thank you. We love participation from the crowd. Thank you so much. Amazing. Cool. Before we get things started, we have a bunch of speakers tonight. One thing I want to say is I'm assuming from hearing from a lot of you, you have not heard about Dust before this. So Aubin will tell us a little bit about that. But if you have any questions, there's a ton of Dust people in the crowd tonight. They are, aside from me, all wearing Dust merch because they followed instructions. I'm getting signals to be closer to the mic. I'm going to let things get kicked off by Aubin and then Marius from Anthropic. But thank you guys so much for kicking off with us tonight. It's nice to meet you.
All right. Hi. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I'm very happy to be here. So my name is Aubin, and I'm going to be talking about skills. All right. So everyone's been calling 2025 the year of AI agents, and there is definitely some truth in this. Now you've got personal agents that are going to take action in your Gmail, for instance. You've got company-wide agents, and you also have agents that are running in automated workflows. Just to give you an idea of what we're doing with, at Dust, the average contributor uses over 15 different agents per week. Now we multiply this by 50. Which begs the question that are your agents going to make a huge fraud, or are they going to flock? Are they going to navigate and flow through your organization harmoniously and add value wherever needed, or are your agents going to make a huge fraud and kind of make noise and add upkeep for your company to deal with? And this is one of the key problems we solve at Dust. So Dust is a platform on which builders can create and share AI agents that will be connected to your company knowledge and your knowledge base, and that will also be able to take action in your integrated platforms. We are, as a platform, model agnostic, which means that you can integrate any model, whether it is from OpenAI, Anthropic, or Mistral within Dust agents. And for instance, we have the chance to try out the latest model from Anthropic, Opus 4.6, over the past few days. It's been super exciting, and we are very excited to see absolutely crush our internal benchmarks. Our vision at Dust is really to become the AI operating systems for agents within a certain company. And we really do believe that collaboration is going to be one of the key things to unlock for AI agents and humans to interact in a productive way within the company. So we're really talking about agent-to-agent collaboration, but also agent-to-human collaboration. And when it comes to human-to-human collaboration, one of our operating principles is about flocking. We also believe that the same rules, the same laws apply to agents. So regarding flocking, it's really governed by three main motions. The first of them is alignment. So what you want in a flock of birds is to have every bird kind of steering toward the same heading as its neighbors. And if we try to apply the metaphor to AI agents, what this means is that you want agents that achieve the same purpose, that go toward the same goal. And this is definitely something that agents by nature already have, because what defines an agent at its core is really going to be its purpose and its goal. Now, as for the other two, which are separation, you really don't want agents that are going to overlap in any way and kind of rely on the same resources, but not use them in the same way and kind of have different small gaps. And you do want agents that have cohesion, which means that you want each agent to be kind of living in the same space as its neighbors. And if we go back to the metaphor of the flocking, in a flock of birds, you have one agent at the middle and a bunch of neighbors. And if you update your agent to become smarter, to do something a better way, you are going to shift it a little. And you kind of want to stay at the center of mass of its neighbors. So you want all your flock of agents to move the same way. And these two last points are definitely something that skills are going to be helpful with. Now, if we take a very practical example, let's say you have a sales agent that was built by someone in your account executive team that requires reading from HubSpot to retrieve information about certain deal, kind of read the custom fields in HubSpot. And then it cross-validates the info with other data sources, for instance, your Notion, your Salesforce, and it helps it draft emails that you're going to send. Now let's take a support agent built by someone in your support team that helps automating ticket information filling. It also needs to read from HubSpot to get the same data and kind of find out who is going to be responsible for a deal, for instance, and then it's going to take this data and update your Jira. Now, if you take this example of these two agents, when you create an agent, the agent is really going to encompass and to encode the knowledge of how to read in your HubSpot, how to draft email at your company, how to update your Jira. So when you create an agent, you add entropy to your system, which encompasses your agents and human as a whole. When you create agent number 3, you create entropy as well. And the way this scales is that it scales linearly with the number of agents. If you have double the agents, you have double the entropy in your added system. And this is really something where skills come into play, because the skill in this case is really going to factorize the HubSpot part, which was common to both agents. In this example, you are going to explain how to read data from HubSpot, which custom fields to read in your instructions. Then you may want to connect it to knowledge. For instance, if you have a bunch of internal lingo of acronyms that you use that are documented somewhere else, you're going to connect your skills to this data source. And you also need to add the HubSpot tool to your skill. You may also want to add other tools if you want to use them jointly. So this is really the definition of a skill. And now, once you've built the skill, there's going to be shared across the sales and the support agents. You are going to have almost close to no entropy created when you create your third agent. So your bigger of n being the number of agents in this case, really becomes a bigger of 1. All right, now for a little technical details added, one thing that is going to also be a pain point that will be solved by skills lies in the fact that skills will load dynamically. What this means is that without skills, when you create an agent, you will see that, and there's some things that we've seen at every company we work with basically, that agents are mostly append-only, because over time you want your agent to become smarter, to be able to do more things, so you add things, you add capabilities, you add instructions. So you kind of run into the risk of having your agent's instruction kind of blow up and take crazy amounts of tokens. And the thing is, with this part, there's something that is extremely tricky in that you may have something that is very tricky to explain and that may require really lengthy instructions. For instance, if you need to tap into your Salesforce at some point, you may want to explain quite a lot of things. And this is going to be the case no matter if you use it 100% of the time or only 1% of the time. So if I have these huge instructions about my Salesforce that I use 1% of the time, they are going to get loaded in context the other 99%. Now let's move on to a world with skills. In this case, you are going to break down your instructions into several kind of comprehensive and self-explanatory blocks, and skills are going to get loaded dynamically depending on the situation. So if you have your Salesforce instructions that take, let's say, 15K tokens, if you're on the 99% of the case where they are not needed, you clearly don't need to tap into your Salesforce, they will not be loaded in context. So this is something where your agent is going to stay lean by nature of the skills. Going back to really what skills are going to unlock and what their core value proposition is. So now you have this kind of memory at the scale of your organization with several different skills that are going to encode how certain things get done at your company. And this is really the tribal knowledge that becomes building blocks for builders at your company to build agents more efficiently. And you're going to have all these building blocks that are going to be laid out and map out an infrastructure that is executable by agents. And this only is made possible if you have builders that are empowered by skills to create them. And the thing is that is really neat with skills is that you really crowdsource excellence at your company because you are going to capture all the useful bits of information really across builders that are going to be scattered across your company. And if you combine both of these, the memory level or the organizational level memory and the crowdsource excellence, you really unlock collaboration at scale. Now, if we go back to really what skills are going to transform in your company, we can realize that everyone is kind of laser focused on making agents smarter. For instance, we have better models that come out every month or so. We improve the instructions, we add more capabilities through MCPs and more integrations. But at this, we believe that this is only one half of the problem, and we're really focused on the other half, which is making these agents work better together. So skills don't transform agents, they transform the organization. All right, thank you so much. Just one quick thing, this slideshow that I've written is actually something called a frame, which was built using an agent that is based on Opus 4.6, and it actually leverages a skill. Thank you very much. Now we can open the floor to some questions.
Hi, I'm Mohit. I work in a
Hi.
biotech company. Hi, I'm Mohit. I work in a biotech company as a senior data scientist. I wanted to understand the difference between what Dust does using skills.md versus other information retrieval approaches such as RAG.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Can you speak a bit closer to the mic, please?
Yeah, I wanted to understand the differences between what skills.md does versus other information retrieval approaches such as RAG.
So at this, we do have a pipeline of RAG that we implement, and it's really one of the many tools that we provide our agents with. So we integrate RAG, but we also have a whole pipeline of search that's actually file system based. So we integrate different types of search. We have the semantic search with RAG, but you also have keyword search that are going to be blended, and we try to kind of harmonize both of them for just agent to search better.
Oh, hey, I had a question. So you said you used Opus 4.6 for your agents. Are we allowed to use like other open source models like Kimi K2.5 or Minimax to build on your platform?
Yeah, so we try to integrate as much model as we can, depending just on the needs of customer. And one thing with this is that this whole part with the interaction with the model is really abstracted for the end user. So in some cases, we make same default choices for users. That's really what we do.
Okay. So you have like Olama integration and other integrations?
We don't integrate with Olama, but that's something we can definitely quickly hack, yeah.
Hello. Can I ask the next one? Thank you. Sorry if I sound a little blunt, but I think a lot of us here tonight want to see a demo. Is that right? Can you show us a demo?
Yeah, sure. All right.
Oh my God, thank you.
So this is Dust, and I navigated to the page where you can manage your skills. So this is really a data table, and where you can kind of have a 360 view of all the skills that are available in your company, and you can see which agents use them. So really have an overview of what you have in your company. And these are suggestions that are AI generated. For instance, like take this one. So this is where you are going to use a skill. This is where you are going to create a skill. And one feature that is pretty neat is that this is the part that will be used to load dynamically a skill. You are going to explain what this skill will be used for and in which situation it is relevant to use it. And to avoid overlap and really going back to the separation thing, we are running a model every time you type in this input to kind of identify whether there are similar skills that would maybe clash with this one. So these are the instructions. You can include knowledge by searching this way. And this is going to be the part that will be included in the agent instruction, and you can add tools. Now, let's see skills in motion. So this is the conversation where I made the frame. The frame is just, sorry, this one. The frame is right here. And this is one huge conversation I had where I created the actual slides. So the slides are going to be really put in one skill. We have one skill where we explain basically, here's our template to make slideshows. Here's how to use it. There's really not much to it. And then from then, you can add your skill right from here, which is already added. And then you ask it to, let's see my first message. I just said, I got a presentation on the topic of skills. Here's the general outline. Let's make a slideshow out of it. And it was actually a model based on Opus 4.6, and that's the output.
Yeah, so in some ways, I feel like skills are like scripts that you write in natural language. And I'm kind of curious, like, what you think is the balance between like writing something as a skill and like actually formalizing it as code.
Yeah, so one part where we really feel like skills are going to have a huge added value within a company is to integrate it a lot more within your existing workflows. So this is definitely the next step we're thinking about, to have agents running in sandbox and executing scripts and so on. And currently, the way you would use them is really to describe your scripts in natural language to be able to leverage the existing iterations. For instance, to use your HubSpot, your Salesforce, etc.
Excuse me. How is it different from skills in Claude Code?
Yeah. So this is really a platform that is not really focused on one vertical. It's really a horizontal platform, which means that it's going to be used by salespeople the same way that support people working in support or engineering are going to use it. And this is where we think it really comes together as an operating system for a company, because you are going to be able to have one unified place where everyone from different functions are going to pour their knowledge and help empower other builders to use it. So I think in a way, Claude Code is going to be more focused on the developer experience, and really the output is mostly going to be first about coding, whereas in Dust, it's going to be more generic to functions outside of engineering.
Hi, that was a really wonderful demo and also presentation. Something that came to mind was, I think something I've noticed in like an enterprise sense when you're building these types of systems where you have multiple agents collaborating together in any capacity, determinism, like consistent results between calls or between agents is like a problem that trickles down to like consistent results, right? So I think I'm curious to understand in an enterprise sense with customers who are using Dust, do you guys notice a specific type of workflow that customers really enjoy using this type of product for versus like another use case where maybe spinning up agents with like specific skills shines versus maybe a place where there's a need?
Yeah, so I think the thing is with Dust, we really give the tools for customer to build any kind of use case they have in mind. And we really have a large variety of them. And regarding the multi-agent part, we do have multi-agent orchestration that are built in within Dust. And one of them is actually called Deep Dive. If I type my agent Deep Dive here, so this thing, if I call it, is going to actually orchestrate up to 10 different agents. And the structure is that we have is that we expose them as a whole for users to kind of have this nice abstraction. And behind the hood is going to have one main agent, another agent that is called the planning agent, which is going to have no connection to external resources and is going to be able to validate the initial plan of the main agent. And then it's going to spin up a bunch of smaller task agents, which are going to be isolated in context to optimize the context window. And there's really a balance between giving nice abstractions to user for them to leverage and have all these context window and more technical issues abstracted away, and also giving them the tools to build themselves the orchestration they need. How do I answer the question? Yeah.
No, that's pretty clear. I'd love to learn more about that specific tool set. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Feel free to grab me after. Yeah.
I got a quick question about how well is Dust integrated into other platforms like Google Drive or GitHub, other place where I can do version control and also file management.
Yeah, so in terms of integrations, we have different kinds of integrations, and one of them is obviously the tools. We build a large number of MCP servers that are going to be, that you can add to any Dust agents. And we have integrations for Google Drive, GitHub, and many, many more. Let's just, yeah, and we have interest for a bunch of them. And there's also a different type of integration, which is going to be closer to the actual platform. For instance, for Zendesk, for front, and for the Chrome, we have an extension which is going to be able to take action and to look at what you're seeing with your own eyes on your browser.
Thank you.
One quick question. How good have you found Dust to be with spreadsheet types of data, or like data where there isn't necessarily like a semantic model that's already built? Is it been good at like inferring those relationships between different data points or tables?
Spreadsheets are tricky. Tabular data in general is tricky for LLMs. It's actually super funny because I think we shipped 4 hours ago the MCP server that interacts with Google Spreadsheets that is able to append data and read it. And one way we found to, then I realized I'm stopped on very silly parts. One thing that we found to interact with tabular data is to embed it and to put it in the SQLite database on the fly, and to have the model generate SQL. And we run it against this just spin-up database. And the model is going to be much smarter at generating SQL than parsing the data and kind of doing the time and date conversion by itself. Yeah. Thank you very much. Feel free to chat with me after. I'm going to be staying for a while. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So my slides are not going to be as pretty as Aubin's because I realized they used Opus 4.5 instead of Opus 4.6. We're having this conversation earlier. Cool. My name is Marius, and I'm part of the applied AI here at Anthropic. And today we're going to give you the similar presentation, but on agent skills, but with the Anthropic flavor. Cool. So we only have 15 minutes and a lot to cover. This is what we get to learn by the end of this this presentation. But before we start, I'm curious, and I want to see a raise of hands for How many people have written a skill before? Okay, good amounts, like 20, 30%. And how many of you are coders? How many are technical? Oh, wow. All right, that's maybe 60% or so. Cool, very interesting. All right, so what do we want to cover today? First, we're going to talk a little bit about the mental model of how we came about to create skills, and how you should think about whether you need skills or not. Then we're going to cover when to use skills. So we're going to give you like a nice little framework to think through. We're going to take a peek under the hood just to understand how skills are created. And then we're going to see a demo and on how to create skills. Unfortunately, it's a recorded demo because it does take a little bit to create a skill. So we're going to leave some time at the end for Q&A. Cool. Before we dive in, I wanted to tell you about the first skills that I built. And as part of the applied AI team at Anthropic, we have a lot of calls with customers to guide them through their technical architecture or model limitations. So when we get a call scheduled, what we need to do is prep for the call. And this is the workflow that we do, or I had to do, as well as my team. So we need to pull in the customer's Salesforce records, understand what they're doing, what their business is. They usually share a technical architecture document with us, so we know exactly where to provide value. And then using that, we're going to go and dive into internal documentation, see who else at the company has worked on that particular task, if it's a computer use case or an Excel spreadsheet use case. And doing all these things will take me maybe 2 to 3 hours to prep, which is a while. So when I saw that skills were launching, I was like, all right, let's optimize this. So the optimization was successful. As you can see, before skills, it would take me maybe 2 hours for each customer, for a handful of customers. And then after I build a skill and we keep maintaining it, I just need to kick things off, and all those steps that you've seen previously are going to execute in a workflow, and they're going to produce a document, a briefing document that I can look at and just hop on a call and help someone. All right, so let's talk about the mental model. Why do we need skills? Claude is getting smarter and smarter. We were blown away by 4.5, as we are blown away by 4.6. But if you just use Claude out of the box, it's like talking to a very brilliant consultant, but who has no idea about your business. Doesn't really know how to do things, how to kind of, figure things out around the company, where documents are, who to ping when it's in trouble. Now, with skills, you can think of the same very, very smart person, or in this case, AI, that has gone through onboarding. So the same consultant has learned all your processes, learned all your tools, who to ping, who to talk to, how to get access to your knowledge, and knows how to get things done. Now, having that in mind, you might think, okay, what if I just take all the knowledge that I have for my company, package it, convert it to text format, and just shove it into my system prompt, right? Wouldn't that be the same thing? And the answer is yes, to an extent, because what's going to happen is you're going to run into some limitations of how much data you can put in the system from, right? So that's where like skills are magical, because Claude knows that they're there, but they're not taking up context. It's almost like it's going to open that skills on demand when it needs it. And it's going to be very rare that it's going to load all of these skills at the same time. That's what we call progressive disclosure. Okay, so who should write skills? I think there's like two categories. There's like the kind of generic, useful for everyone type of skills. And we have built a few of them. They're open source on our GitHub. So things like dealing with PowerPoint, Excel spreadsheets, Words, PDFs. These are kind of public benefits. They benefit everyone in the world. And there's the second type of skills that are the custom skills that are only valuable to your company and probably contain a lot of private information, and you don't want it to be out there. And that's where you step in and write the custom skills for your company. Cool. All right, so let's think of when to use skills. There's three categories that I wrote down here. I think it's like a good segmentation, but it's not written in stone. We can iterate on this. But just to remember, there are the specialized tasks, like we talked before, of operating on Excel spreadsheet, right? That's a specialized task. Or there's the repeatable workflows. Like I mentioned, the thing that I was doing to prep for calls, right? I was chaining a few steps together. That's a workflow that I was doing, and now is just turned into a skill. And then number 3 here on the list is complex workflows. What it means is, let's say you have a, prepare like a partnership doc or an IPO doc. There's a lot of things that are involved to achieve such a task. So we would use the combination of the two. And that's what I'm trying to say is skills are composable. So one skill can call like multiple skills. So you have like the big workflow, and each step maybe it's its own skill. Cool. Now that you know why and when to use the skills, we're going to take a look under the hood and see how skills actually work. Just to give you an intuition, and this is valuable for non-technical folks as well, it's going to give you an intuition of like what to put in a skill, because you're going to learn how Claude behaves. So this is a big diagram, a lot to look at, but the takeaway here is this. We noticed that Claude, the best thing that you can give to Claude is a computer. So if Claude has access to a computer where you can like write code and do stuff, like you're gonna get a lot more mileage than just talking to like a chat bot. All right, so on the right-hand side here, we have the virtual machine that Claude talks to. And it can execute Bash, you can run Python scripts, you can run Node.js. And this is attached to a file system, so that virtual machine has a hard drive, has a file system. And within that file system, that's where we place the skills. So their skills are actually folders on a file system on the machine that Claude operates. And the most important file in that folder is this file called skill.md. And this is kind of the entry point. And there are two parts in this file. First is the header that contains the name and the description. Now, the description is not just something that you look at and you understand. It's actually what Claude looks like. And based on that, you'll make the decision whether to call the skill or not. So that's why it's like very important. You probably have to iterate on it. You're gonna have to, make sure that the AI is on the same page as you are. And the second part is just like the instructions. So here, you can put a lot of instructions. They can refer other files in the same file system. They can refer Python scripts, and I think I have a slide for this. Yep, there you go. So like the slide kind of like points to another Python file that Claude is going to read and execute on behalf of the task that you give it. It's a rich environment. This is a step-by-step diagram of what happens when you type in extract tables from this PDF. It's a pretty common task. You get a financial document with a table inside it, and you put it in Claude.ai and say, hey, Claude, extract this PDF for me. Now, Claude has a PDF skill already attached to it, Claude.ai. So it's going to do a few things. It's going to like go through the discovery phase. Hey, I have a PDF skill. Does this match the query? Sounds like yes. Okay, let's see what's going on here. I'm going to read the skill.md file. Okay, there's some Python libraries that maybe I need to install and use. This is how I do table extraction. This is the output format. So it just learns a lot on the fly. And then it's going to execute. It's going to go to the execution phase. We run the Python scripts, and then at the end, we produce a CSV file. Hopefully, it's going to be reported back to you in the interface. Cool. Now that you know how skills are stored, are used by Claude, we're going to go to the process of building a custom skill, which is probably the most important thing that you can do. And I have the recorded demo here. Unfortunately, skills do take a while to create, so we're just going to go through that. All right. So what's going on here? Let's say I work on as part of the legal team at Anthropic, and my job is to vet a lot of the documents that are published externally, right? People want to write a blog post, or I think in this case, maybe it's like a little bit more like financially related. But yeah, I want to like automate myself and not have to like review all these documents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a legal compliance review skill, and everybody in the company can use it. How do I create this skill? Obviously by asking Claude to create a skill for me. So here's the prompt. Very simple. Create a skill that checks whether a document follows the legal compliance, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to attach a checklist to give Claude some context. And I'm going to like tell it like how I want it to output the verification. In this case, there's a spreadsheet, and there's a column, and it says pass or fail. And I'm going to like say, hey, just color the pass cell is in green and failed cell is in red, which is, pretty standard. And here's the video. Hope you guys can see this. I'm going to type in the exact same prompt, attach that PDF with the criteria. Claude is going to go ahead, and the first thing it's going to do is actually is going to fetch a skill that is called skill creator. So that's how like Claude.ai knows how to create new skills. It already has a skill loaded into it that's called skill creator. Using that, it's going to parse the document. It's going to try to understand what do you want to do. It's going to see like, hey, there's some like spreadsheets involved. Let me pull that. And then it's going to cook for a little bit. And I can't really remember exactly how long it took, but it was in the order of maybe like 3 to 5 minutes. Cool. Okay, so now that is done, what's the output of this prompt? It's actually a .skill file. And a .skill file is just a text file in Markdown format that you can download. There's a download button here at the top right. And you can like share it with your team. and they can install it in their own Claude cowork or Claude AI instances. So now that I have the skill, we're going to go to the next slide and this one, and we're going to see how we're going to use the skill. All right, so let's say that I already installed that skill and I'm putting together a shareholder letter, and I'm going to ask Claude to verify that this document follows the SEC requirements. So we're going to see what Claude is going to do. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it's going to use the skill that I just created. Reading documents seems to be taking quite a few tokens. Cool. All right. So it did what I expected to do. Now Claude realized it has to use the skill that I just created. So it's just going to go ahead and do that. It's going to read the markdown, figure out the instructions, yada yada, extract. It's going to make its life a little bit easier by creating some summaries. Yeah, and then at the end, if you remember what was the output instruction, it was this Excel spreadsheet containing pass and fail. So this document here is just like so much easier. Like it's like a really nice kind of intermediate step for me to review my documents before sending them to the legal team. Or I can just send them this. Okay, and with that, I think that's it. And I don't think we have time for the second demo. So we're just gonna go into Q&A. So I wanna invite my colleague, Chloe, on the stage to do a little bit of Q&A.
So regarding the skills, so I see from the demo and from daily works, it's you can create a skill from prompts, and somehow it's often you see the skill is created through our workflow. So it's like automatic created skill. Everyone can create a skill, individual, companies, experts, but at the end of the day, how do we evaluate how effective they are? And the current industry, I'm wondering, for different perspective, for example, individual or in Anthropic itself, what are the procedures that you determine the effectiveness of skills?
Yeah, so your question is around validating, making sure that the skill is doing the right thing, and maybe keeping the skill up to date.
Yes.
Yeah, this is, I guess, it's still a hard problem. It is a prompt. It goes into an agent, and it's kind of similar evals methodology that we would use for any LLM application applies to building a skill. My recommendation is to have the expert that knows the best about that skill and that workflow to task that person with the validation process. It's part of owning a skill, I would say. It's almost like you're maintaining code or you're maintaining a skill. And I don't know, like the best solution here is to be a little bit data driven and create an eval set.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we have anything in the platform so far do you know if you have like any eval tool for skills? No, not yet, but I'm sure something will come down the line.
Yeah, second question. Yeah, so for follow-up, I understand because I've been in the industry for a long time as an engineer, and the skills being evaluated through experts, but often seen like even through a golden data sets that AI can do field shots real quick and understand how effective the skills are. But this is not scalable at two things. One is like a new industry or new kind of area that we need evaluation. Second is when the problem get really large. Yeah, so any insights on that?
Yeah. I get this question a lot from people building agents, right? It's kind of the same realm, kind of the same problem. We work with a lot of companies that are building research agents, healthcare agents, and it's really, like, I was talking to a company building accounting agents, and it's really hard to just, like, based on the output to evaluate the whole, like, breadth of space. I think you need to start somewhere, start with like a small subset of evals that will get you, pretty far, but like keep piling on those evals, keep adding the corner cases that you discover in production when using the skill, and bring them back to evals. So that's how you kind of maintain your resistance to like new model changes and whatnot. But yeah, it's not an easy task. Good question.
Hi, so now we have agents, we can give them a bunch of skills, give them their own computer, and we want to make them work together. How do we reconcile conflict between each other, especially if the set of rules are predefined? Like, do we have to iterate through that, or do you guys encounter this type of problems already? We can talk a bit of the process of thinking and asking the right question when building multiple in parallel.
So the question is, how do skills interact with agents, and how do you get agents to work together using the same set of skills? Yes, okay. So the answer to this is sub-agents, right? So we recently launched sub-agents in the Agent SDK and in Claude Code. And the way that I think of sub-agents and skills is like this. A sub-agent can access a skill and use it to guide what it does, but a skill can also spawn a sub-agent. So they interact together, right? So you might say, I need to fix a bunch of bugs, and Claude will spin up a bunch of sub-agents to go fix all these different bugs. And maybe you have a skill underneath that that's like a BigQuery skill that's going to help them identify the bugs and fix them. They will all be able to access that skill. And what's more, one of the sub-agents might use that skill and say, oh, actually, I need to query 2 different tables. I'm going to suggest that you spin up another set of sub-agents to then be nested and do that. So you can give agents the same set of skills. And I think what that also unlocks is that you can have a skill at the top level that's guiding the sub-agent's behavior as well. So you can assign different roles to sub-agents based on that top level skill. Does that answer your question?
The way I think I understand it is like they can spin their own agent now. So if they don't have the skill, they will spin up their own skill, and that would create another agent that solve that specific problem.
So the question is, essentially, can different sub-agents have access to a different set of skills? No, they cannot at the moment. You have one set of skills, and you can tell different sub-agents prompts that will trigger them to use different skills, but a fundamental proposition of the skills system at Anthropic is that they are available to the model in any form, and we trust the model and the user's prompt to trigger the appropriate skill at the appropriate time. And so it's an intentional decision to not, require that level of granularity.
Thank you for the fascinating presentation. I had a question. So would you ever consider nested skills, or is that even possible right now? The situation I'm running into is I have 3 skills for specific tasks, like do some final verification, update documentation, and push a PR, let's say. So right now in the prompt, I have to say run all 3 skills, but it'd be cool if I could just say run one release skill that calls all 3 skills.
So, you can do that today. Skills are what we call composable. So you can have one meta skill that allows Claude to invoke other skills beneath it.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, I have 2 questions. One, does Anthropic have any capabilities of having self-evolving skills officially? And 2, is there any easy way to share these skills with other people? As in, can a team have a shared set of skills? Yeah.
Yes, great question. So the question is, can you evolve a skill, self-evolve a skill, and also is there any way to share a skill? Yes, skills can self-evolve, and in fact, the way that my team does it, I'm an engineer at Anthropic, is we have a set of skills that our team maintains, and we are constantly asking Claude to self-update those skills. So we'll say, take a look at our updated documentation and our recent Slack messages and update the skill to make sure it's not out of date anymore. And I actually find that the best way to get a good skill is to work with Claude Code in a tight loop and iterate on that skill until you're happy with it. And I find that Claude Code is a lot faster at improving and evolving a skill than I am on my own, actually. In terms of sharing skills, they are meant to be shared. This is the exact use case. Skills are a multiplier for your team. So when you find a skill that works well, we highly recommend sharing it. There are some mechanisms within Claude Code that allow you to do that with an enterprise that you use together with Claude Code. But the way that we see most people doing it in their workplace is through repos. So they have a skills directory, often one for each team, which is what we have at Anthropic, and you upload shared skills to that repo.
My question is, are skills always appropriate for an agent, or are there certain kinds of agents for which a skill is not necessary or appropriate? For instance, like a latency-sensitive user-facing agent, or how do you think about when skills make sense versus not?
Yeah, so in the presentation, there was a slide where I showed you the kind of past where you didn't have skills and you shot everything in the system prompt. And that's the alternative. Now, the only reason you would do that if you think that your agent needs like low latency, as you mentioned, because you don't need to go to the file system and read that skill.md file, or you think that your agent is always gonna use that data, so it always uses that knowledge, so you don't need to like conditionally inject it or not. It's always gonna be in the system prompt.
Hey, I'm over here on the other side, but it feels like skills plus CLIs is just better than MCP. Where's the value of MCP anymore if skills combined with CLIs seemingly does the same thing? Like OpenClaw effectively only does skills with CLIs and no longer uses MCPs.
So I think that there is a big difference between skills and MCPs in that skills cannot make, for example, API calls. The skills are simply a set of instructions, and then the model can leverage them in a way like calling an MCP. So you might have in your skill something that triggers the model to then use a tool call or call an MCP, but skills alone, in my opinion, are not necessarily sufficient if you want to have a true agent loop. It's almost like the skill is the brain of Claude and the MCP is the hands of Claude that allow it to reach outside of that container and actually affect the world. Yeah. Okay, so the idea is if you give a CLI a skill, can it do everything an MCP does? And it can, but it's going to require a lot of overhead on the part of the engineer, right? Because the beauty of an MCP is that it takes care of authentication for you. If you're building a CLI that's trying to skip over MCPs, you're going to have to deal with that yourself. You're going to be giving Claude your API keys. You're going to be doing a lot of things that we give MCPs to people so that they can bypass that risk and that overhead. So it's possible, but you're really going to have to sweat for it.
Last question.
Last question.
Hi, you guys just talked about workflows and how you can automate a lot of your tasks. You just talked about workflows where Claude is able to automate a lot of your tasks and you can probably have a lot of skills in between those workflows. Is that the case? Let's say you have a workflow, right? In between that, you would require multiple set of skills to operate and go through that workflow, automate something. My question is basically around reliability. Traditionally, automations have been very reliable, but LLMs might choose to or not to choose the right set of skills in the right set of order, right? How reliable is that?
So the question is around automating workflows and how reliable is that you're gonna get all the steps right executed. I feel like that was maybe a problem of Claude 3.7.4. I would like trust the new models a lot more that they're gonna execute my workflow. Now, if you really like, it's a really sensitive thing that you're doing and you wanna make sure there's some verification process, you can kind of give Claude like a checklist to verify at the end, or things to cross off the list, like anything that Claude has to kind of do self-verification on a file system or somewhere is going to help with their reliability. Thank you. Right. Thanks all. Thanks for coming.